Hey, this is Zeb, and thank you for joining me here at Zeb's Corner. Today, I'm going to discuss the music production of Mike Will, or as commonly known, Mike Will Made It.
Oh man, Mike Will made it.
He is a producer from Atlanta, Georgia, with the credits of lots of artists' production, Beyonce being one of them, and among tons of others. But one of the things that I noticed about his production was the work that he did for Ray Shmurda, or is that the way? Did I say it right? No. How do you say it?
That girl is a real crowd, please.
Well, these guys, I don't know how to say their name correctly, but the Black Beatles song that hit the airwaves for quite a while. And one thing that I noticed about the song was it had a sense of pop appeal for a hip hop song, which is not a bad thing. So it was done pretty well, clean, pristine. I made the mistake and thought that he was responsible for the French Montana song Unforgettable, because there's a sense of pop sheen in that as well. And it's mostly not on the production of the musical track. It's really on the vocals, only on the hook. I really kind of like what was done on there. There's some things that are done there on production, or engineering should I say, that has more of a pop appeal to it than your typical hip-hop track. So it wasn't a trap song, it wasn't a hardcore hip-hop song, it was just a song. And sometimes you have to treat your engineering tricks and tips and things like that based not only on the genre, but based on what the song is doing. Some things call for heavy treatment, some things call for light treatment, sometimes some things call for no treatment at all. And in this particular case here, Black Beatles, I thought, was a good track because it's clean, it will transfer through time, through the ages. It will be a song that we'll hear 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and still think it's a decent song. And that to me is good production. And I think Mike Will is somebody a little keen to the world of production as a producer. He's not just making beats. And I think I don't know too many others who are making beats but are considered or should be considered producers. So production is a real serious thing. It's not a weak title. It's one that should be given some reverence. And I think Mike Will is one of today's, or this generation's, producers of its time. In my day, it was Dr. Dre. I still think he's a producer. Oh my Lord. I still think he's a producer not to be reckoned with, because he not only produces, I think he does something a little bit beyond production. I don't even know what that is. He's just got a really good ear. And that's part of production, a really good ear, not just you making tracks and making beats and stuff like that. I think anybody could do that in this day and age. But having a good ear and knowing how to place things where they belong is what makes a good producer. And I think Mike Will has that capability. I think with Black Beatles and the other songs, I mean, producing for Beyonce is not a small task. You know, she's a mega superstar, as much as I would hate to say that. But, you got to give the woman credit for where it is. And he was noted for doing Formation. And that's not a small track. That's a well-known track, and it's very well produced. And I wouldn't have thought he had anything to do with that. So giving him credence is not, to put him on the pedestal or anything of that nature. But I think sometimes some people are falling short of production as opposed to making beats. Do I want to call out any people who I think are beat makers and not necessarily producers? I might get like zero credit for saying this, but Metro Boomin is a beat maker. I don't think he's a producer. He may be a good beat maker, but I don't think he's exceptional. Because I think duplicating what he does is very easy. And I think that's what makes the difference between beat making and producing. If it's very easily produced and like my 12-year-old son could do it, then you're just a beat maker. But Mike Will, even though the track is semi simplistic for Black Beatles, I think what he's done with their vocals makes the difference on how the vocals and the beat mixes well together. It's an old song, so I'm acting like it's brand new, but I've heard it before. But I thought it really tricked me, or I really had this thing to talk about, Unforgettable. And somehow that song, I thought I attributed that song to him, and it really wasn't him. But I've been finding there's this connection between the success of what the member from that rap group, what's the name of it again? Josh? Yeah, those guys. I've attributed Mike Will to that Unforgettable song to him, when it really wasn't him. It was a group of guys. I forgot from where they're hailing from, but it's the production company or the production group is called One Mind. Number one and Mind together. It's several people together. And what was interesting is that they used Reason to produce that song. So this goes out for anybody who wants to sit here and swear by the almighty whatever that FL Studio is the all beat maker of all beat makers. No, there's plenty of people who use Reason and get their stuff on the radio, no different from FL. I mean, I'm not knocking FL, but I kind of am. You know, FL is just like this easy thing that everybody and their mama uses. But Reason is, to me, still ahead of the game as far as making beats or producing or whatever the case is that you have in your laptop, in your desktop, or whatever you have it. And that song, Unforgettable, I would have never thought it was done in Reason, and it was. So I think I'll give you guys a link, and you could see where they were just deconstructing the track, and Reason was the tool to use that they did that with. And so I'm happy. Yay! Even though I'm still stuck on Reason 6, I mean, still, I give Reason lots of props, and I hope they never go out of business, because then I don't know what I'll use if they ever do. But in any event, you know, giving these guys credit for what they've done, production, and giving Michael credit for what he's done. Production is key, and I'm going to keep my eye out for more producers and new producers. I don't always want to necessarily talk about some of the older ones, but I may even compare some of the older producers with some of the new producers and see if the skills of production is high as it used to be. And I think sometimes people are getting beat making and production a little bit confused, you know, because to end it with this here, a lot of rock bands, even up to this day, did not produce their albums. It was a producer and then the band that wrote the song. And the band wrote the song, played the notes and everything like that. The producer did something different to the song that was written by the band. So there is giving you a good example of how a producer's job is not always in constructing or making a track. So, you know, I could go on and on. U2, Rolling Stones, Mint Condition, any band that you want, you know, or any group or person that writes the song, even creates the song. A producer's job is not always to create the song. Sometimes their job is to facilitate how the song is going to be constructed and then given to the audience. You know, songwriters have a different imagination on how the song should go. And then a producer's job is to say, hey, we could take this song and we could do this with it and give it out to the public in this manner. And then hopefully, you know, it hits and it lands and it does what it's supposed to do. So beat makers just make a track, have somebody hop on it, and then, you know, hey, let's see what happens. So let's take a look at the producers and the beat makers and make a distinction and see how producers then measure up to producers today and see if we're even getting the same kind of result and the same kind of quality. And I think Mike Will is one of those people I think I'm going to keep a very close eye on. And then hopefully he'll blow up to be the next Dre, or if not better. You know, I doubt better, but you know what I mean. Anyway, thank you for coming here at Zeb's Corner. And please always hit the like. And if you don't like, hit the dislike. And if you like or don't dislike either way, subscribe because I got more stuff coming for you guys. And again, thank you for coming here at Zeb's Corner.
GPM.